I got a comment of someone asking, how do I resell? Because they're trying to do it as well. I've been a reseller for 8 years on many online sites, including eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, ThreadUp. I've done almost all the websites. My favorite is definitely eBay, and Poshmark is also very good. Poshmark I would definitely recommend if you're just starting. It is so easy to list on Poshmark. eBay, there's a little bit more involved because you need to weigh the items. There are more specifics that you would want to enter, but I definitely say if you're just starting out, Poshmark is definitely good. Or if you're more style based or into Y2K clothing, Depop is also a good one. So, excuse me, that's where I'd start. Actually, when I go thrifting, I don't just buy cute stuff. I have to check comps. I have to check if it's moving in my store, if I've sold that item before. I look at sold listings, and I'll definitely do another video showing you how to check what's selling and the sell-through rates. But definitely you don't want to just buy things because you think it's cute. You want to buy things and check on places such as eBay or also Poshmark. See how that item has actually been selling in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. 90 days I would say at the most. I buy most of my items from the Goodwill bins because it's the cheapest to do so. You can also check places like Goodwill retail stores, Salvation Armies. They typically have certain days of the week that they will also have big sales. It used to be where I remember I used to go, you could get things for $1 per item for a certain color tag, and sometimes the whole store would be $1 on a certain day of the week. A lot of that has stopped in the last couple of years, but in certain states I know you can get it a lot cheaper at retail stores than what you can get here. I live in Los Angeles. Once you purchase the items, lots of people will come home and wash the items. I don't wash every single item because I steam most items. Steaming actually kills more bacteria than actually washing the clothes. Unless the clothes look dirty, have stains, or smell, different things, I definitely just choose to steam those items because you're going to need to steam them anyway to perform. Now, at the beginning, I had no fancy setup at all. I didn't even have lighting. And I still sold items. Of course, once you start selling, when you're ready, it's good to have some sort of ring light, a good spot, even on your wall. You could put a nail, you could put a hook, you can do what they call flat lays, where you just put the items on the floor, make sure the floor is clean, preferably a rug that's clean of some sort. You can flat lay the items to take the pictures. You can use your phone. If you take a lot of photos, I would recommend using a camera, but that's not necessary. And especially now, it's so much easier than when I first started. Now on eBay, they have a way that you can just select a button. It will put a complete white background on your photos, which is best for Google performance. And a lot of places like Poshmark, I don't think it's started yet, but they like you to have a white background, at least on the first picture. So typically, unless you have really good lighting, it's hard to get your background really clear. So I would just use the function on eBay to whiten out at least your first picture. There are other tools such as Photo Room. I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but I do have a tool that I pay for once a year. It's like $69 a year, and it'll white out the background of all your photos in an instant. It'll also put clothes on a model. It does all kinds of cool stuff. When I started, I think back again, I had none of this, none of the stuff that we have now. So reselling is a lot easier now, but it is also harder in certain ways because everybody has access to those tools as well. Another extremely important thing is the titles matter. They give you 80 characters. That just means the amount of letters and numbers you can use. I would use I would put as much as you can in the title, not of just junk. You want to put the brand name, you want to put the color, the size, if it's for a woman or a man or a child, as much detail as you can. And also what's important are keywords. Keywords are like goth, dark academia, romantic. So you also want to use keywords in your description as well as in your title. But first and foremost, you always want to include the brand if it does have a brand, if it's vintage. And again, the color, style, if it's a pair of pants, are they skinny jeans? Are they wide leg jeans? These days, though, you could just Google and, the magnitude of information you can get that will simplify it for you is so easy. You can look at any of Poshmark or eBay listings to also see examples of what people have. So I would look at people that are doing well, that are taking really good pictures and really good titles and descriptions, real thorough, and use those as examples as well. I will do more videos on that as well, but I'm just trying to do a very simple video for you on this, on how to sell. So, and again, it's really easy to get started. You also want to include, when you sell an item, this is also very important so you don't get a lot of questions down the line, is to put measurements in your listing. And I measure, depending upon if it's a pair of jeans, you want to measure the waist. You want to measure the rise. You want to measure the inseam. So again, these are all things that you can learn and are very simple to do. So you definitely want to include measurements in your listings for the items. It helps not get questions. It also helps your items sell faster. So definitely measurements in the listing as well. Now for pricing, I check sold comps for all things that I do price. Now, that is very important, not to just look at what someone put up on a website, like say eBay, they're selling an item for whatever price, because a lot of people do not check sold listings, so they just put any kind of price, which you want to put a price that's going to actually sell. So you want to look at sold comps of what things actually sold for, not what they're listed for, because anybody could put any kind of price. You want to look at what has sold. And also you want to check what's called the sell-through rate, which I'll do another video on as well, which is very important, because for an example, say you have an item that sold for $20, say a pair of jeans, whatever it is, American Eagle, it sold for $20, but that same pair for American Eagle, say example, they have, say maybe 1,000 listings for that same pair of jeans, that same size and that same style, but in the last 90 days, only one pair of those jeans have sold that size and style. That's a bad buy. You want to look at, say for example, that pair of American Eagle jeans that there are, say, 5 listings up right now for that same size and color and style. Say 4 of those sold. That's an excellent sell-through rate. So that pricing is just as important as everything else. Once you sell an item, you also want to package your items well. You want to use good, clean packaging. You want to give quick responses when you sell an item if someone has a question. So quick responses. Customer service is also very important. Reselling online. You want honest descriptions. You also want to do shipping as quickly as possible. That's also very important. So again, just a quick recap. Thank you, Gina, again for this question. Reselling takes a lot of work, but it's very rewarding. If you're someone that doesn't like to work behind the desk, I did in a 9-to-5 job. It's an excellent way to make money. You determine how much you want to make. The longer hours, the more time you put into it, the more you're going to make, the more you check what's selling, how quick it's selling, keeping up with the trends. All of that is very important. I will do more videos. I hope that answered your question. I will definitely do more. As I said, if you have more questions, just let me know.